Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. Just as Duncan commented that the ladies get to be seated, irrespective, and then everybody else. It's easier. QLA is easier for women. Even an ugly woman, it's easier. If you're reasonably good looking, it's a piece of cake. And if you happen to be world class, like Miss World, which we got a couple, whatever transcends easy. Whatever transcends easy. I'm not going to say welcome, but because that's all horseshit. And whether you're in the cottage, the Swiss guy, I hope you fucking freeze to death. I don't give a shit. And don't misinterpret my age with kindness. In the good old days, when we had people piss their pants, shit their pants, pass out, most of our billionaires were made. No webinars, no homework, no templates. For those of you that came because of those reasons, 100% of everything I'm going to tell you this week is on the line someplace. Some of which on Reddit, some of which on the black web, but even the templates are online. If you didn't find them, you didn't look hard enough. 99% of all the people that have created that $1 trillion+ thank you very much, I've never met. One guy here this week, I met 5 or 6 years ago in another lifetime. But I met him, he came to one of my free 20, 30 minutes you can talk to me, and when I listen to you, etc., at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel a number of years ago. One of the biggest challenges is when you ask questions, as Duncan alluded to, but he did it in a very nice, soft way, maybe from his days at the Buckingham Palace, is I won't answer your question, I won't address you, I won't even say that you're present if it doesn't come through the mic. I'll just discount you and I'll move to the next person. Now, even though I've said that rather nicely, some of you tomorrow morning or tonight, when we have a test, will fuck it up. Some of you are so used to stepping on your dick, you don't know any better. How many people are English not their primary language? Good. I don't repeat myself. Should we take that vote again? You should, as adults, you all look adult age, should know how I teach, how I coach, how ostensibly I mentor, and you're still here. As I alluded to before about throwing out, pissing your pants, shitting your pants, the last person that we had a throw-up incident was 2 hardcores or 3 hardcores ago. The guy sitting there before Corona, sitting next to the guy in the end, so half the space, had a seizure and threw up all over Brian Rose on one of his newly bought suits from my tailor. I didn't buy it for him, he bought it for himself. Then they believed me. That was 2.5 years ago. Right, Kent? Okay. I laughed till I almost pissed myself. When he went into a seizure and he passed out, the next part of the story, there were 3 doctors in the room and 2 surgical nurses, and I forget, we had 5 or 6 medical people. Not one of them came up to him to see if he was living or dying. Then finally one came over and they pulled the tongue that he had swallowed. And that's where we are today. Why didn't they go over to help him? Hippocratic oath aside, because they're fucking liable if the cocksucker died on him. That's where we are. And that's what you're up against. We had a doctor couple here not too long ago. And when they come in, there's somebody in a plane that has a heart attack, etc. And they said, are there any doctors? When the wife is going to raise her hand, the husband glues her hand to the goddamn, what separates the seats. And they don't go help him. Why? Because now we have professional liability. And if you do something that later a jury that wasn't there, being part of the decision-making process, will deem you guilty of malpractice. We've made a lot of doctors successful, and we've made a ton of nurses successful. And you're going to hear 2 or 3 of them live. You're going to hear the Viking bitch. No, I exaggerated. 6'5". She's not. She's 6'1" or 2. It sounds better. 6'5". There used to be a song, Big John, wide at the shoulders and thin at the hips. Big bitch. But she's tough as nails. Hippocratic oath aside. Most of you, by the 3rd day, you'll know whether it was a mistake to come here or not. Some of you already realized it was a mistake. Especially after I said 100% of the material is free online. Well, I searched very hard, Mr. Peña, but you didn't look hard enough. And if you didn't look hard enough to find all the material online, then it's doubtful that you're going to work hard enough to make QLA work for you. But the last guy that shit his pants was a long time ago. He was a partner with a Big 4 accounting firm. And then he wrote me a letter on the Big 4 accounting firm stationery. I knew I was alive and a man when I shat myself the 4th day. Why would you send me that in writing? Some of you are embarrassed for him and you don't even know the son of a bitch. As I told one of you earlier, the thing that I'm more famous for, which hasn't really come out recently, I don't know why, is I'm the world's best at getting this meathead to do what he doesn't want to do to be wealthy. Doesn't want to do. There's nobody better than me. And we've had some people crying because I've cut my seminar back to 50% this year because I'm entertaining politics, etc., in my exploratory committee, etc. And we'll announce the exploratory committee probably in the springtime because some of the luminaries, I do it face to face. Many of you will take the option of recruiting your dream team on Zoom. You're interviewing with lawyers and accountants on Zoom. You're interviewing with banks on Zoom. And the initial interviews with motivated sellers on Zoom, which is wrong. But it's worked during during Corona. And because you're cunts, you lack social skills, you lack interpersonal skills, your verbal skills are piss poor, and your communication skills are less than piss poor, that's the option you'll take. And we've had success. We've got a whole bunch of deals. When I put all the deals, on my social media, and that's just a fraction of the deal, I don't say the guy, cocksucker, never met the fucking guy. I'm embarrassed about that. But the system is so fucking good, I could do a monkey. A monkey would do it. That's how good the fucking system is. But the real superstars meet the people. But you'll say, that takes time, Mr. Peña. Yeah. But it's the bricks that the foundation that you lay will stay as opposed to be mowed down by the waves on your sandcastle. This system is the easiest thing. It's the only game in town, no money. This is the mafia system without a gun. I.e., the drug cartels have sent me people in the past. The Mexican mafia have sent people in the past. I.e., a good portion of the former Iron Curtain countries, the billionaire came here in the early 90s and paid in cash. The system has no equal. The only weak part of the system is you. That's it. I've said before, you only have to learn 25 or 30 phrases, the nomenclature of the QLA model. 25 if you're slightly, not gifted, but smart. 30 if you're a dunce. 30 fucking phrases. 30 fucking phrases and 2,000 cold calls away from being a millionaire. And you're going to hear Andreas Milner, who's my current poster child, or one of them. He said when he was working 60 hours a week at another job and 60 hours a week in QLA, he only made 41 calls a week, not a day, a week. And last month, his figures, which are posted, to his account, he owns 62% of the holding, the GmbH, is 30 million euros. And the total GmbH, of which I'm part of, full disclosure, I'm his chairman, is about 50 million euros in 2 years. How's your program worked out the last 2 years? It hasn't. And that's one of my chief things I whip the politicians here in Angus. If you're better off than you were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I have nothing to sell you. Of course, I know nobody's fucking better off. They're worse off. We had a guy earlier, was it today or yesterday? Part of our security was walking our dogs. We have in the house 4 puppies right now, right? And 1 grown-up dog. I could give a whole seminar on how not to do that again, but that's another story. Was walking near the beach in Arbroath or something like that, and somebody came up to him, and a full-page advertisement came out on us yesterday in the Courier, and he came like this, and so the guy thought the guy was going to try to hit him. He says, is the man written in here, the real man, or is these just words? So the security guy said, Graham said, one of those, that's really him. Oh, that's really him. And he said, well, he's got my vote. Now, so far, it's been fucking easy. And I realize it's early days. But I am going to eat alive. And leave nobody alive. And I'm going to leave blood in the motherfucking streets for politics in Angus. I'm going to take no motherfucking prisoners. Metaphorically speaking. My lawyers make me say that. I'm going to kill and eat everything I meet. I'm coming, Nicola. Get ready. She's the First Minister of Scotland. And that's exactly how I implemented QLA decades ago. And the guys, the big hitters now, are not as ferociously as I did it, but that's what they've adopted to be super successful. When you can create $34 million in 2 years, of course, we've got a kid that created $70 million in 7 months. What have you done in the last 7 months? How's your program worked out? It hasn't. But the QLA program is not the guilt age panacea. It's you implementing the QLA program and pulling the fucking trigger. We've got a few pendejos in the audience. I don't need to point you out. That is somebody that is of Hispanic or Latino, whatever you call it now, heritage. Same heritage as I'm from. You have several things to work. You're working against you. We're lazy. We're not the only fucking culture, ethnicity that's lazy. I can pinpoint a few others. But you will learn. But the only thing you really have to learn is pull this fucking trigger. For those of you, how many are parents in the room? Oh, not any. Thank God. God bless you. Okay? But I take your little, how old are your kid? You're about to have a kid, that's right.
I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old and a new...
Okay, I'm not going to ask you which is your favorite, because I know one of them is. But look, we're going to take your favorite, whoever it is. And I'm going to take a 357 Magnum, and I'm going to put it in he or her's mouth. I'm going to pull the trigger, and I says, you got 3 days to do this tub of shit, or I'm going to blow the little fucker's head and splatter on the QLA screen. You would move, well, most parents, not all parents, most parents would move heaven and earth to save the little shit. Even though I can prove to you statistically the little shit's not worth saving. But that's a whole other seminar. Just as I'm going to prove to you, most of you in this room are accidents. Not on purpose. But anyway, that's a whole other seminar. And so he'd go move heaven and hell, blah, 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 save the little shit, right? If you put that kind of pressure on you, you'll do deals in 3 or 4 months. You'll be a multimillionaire in a year. You'll be worth a couple $100 million in 3 or 4 years. You'll be a billionaire in 7 or 8 years. But that means you have to make sacrifice. And even though I'm the best in the world at getting you to do what you don't want to do, to have what you want to have, there's certain things you just won't do. One of you, I believe it was you, I don't believe I know it was you, 120 hour week, no problem. He's done it already. If that's true, and Indians fucking lie. So anyway, but if that is true from an Indian man living in Canada, in the lap of luxury, as I would say, this program is a fucking like brushing your teeth. But so far, and Sally's known me a long time, I'm the only motherfucker, cocksucker, that I know for sure has worked 120 hours in a week. Me. I've worked 140 hours in a week. Me. And when we give you the weekly reports to fill out, and they're for you and not for me, and there's 73 questions. You either do them or you don't. And if you don't do it. You say, I cunted out. And when you see 65 out of 73, I cunted out, what does that make you? Notwithstanding she's a gal. That makes you a lazy motherfucking cunt. And you're never going to make it with this program. And when you fill that first report out, honestly, candidly, you know the first week whether you're going to make it or not. Because there's no turning back from 65 I cunted out to 5 I cunted out. I've never known anybody to flip it that much. But you say, well, my mother died. My girlfriend or my boyfriend or my son or got corona. Life doesn't give a fuck about corona. And I'm sure you realize that because there's a couple of gals here, I don't change the seminar. If she was the fucking Pope, I wouldn't change the fucking seminar. People have already asked me, the Prowlings, the superstar couple that are coming back in March with their 14-year-old son, am I going to teach the seminar any different because of the 14-year-old kid? Fuck no, I didn't change it for fucking nuns. Why would I change it for the little shithead? But he's been listening to my tapes at his house since he's 10 years old. I expect an animal, a 14-year-old animal, that could eat everybody in this fucking room up. In school, when he's getting in trouble, he tells his dad, oh, it's all right. The teacher's not smart enough to understand how stupid he is. Any questions? Good, because there are such a thing as stupid questions. Say your name, rank, and say, what's your name?
Matthew.
Matthew what?
Wong. And my question...
You hide the Wong favorably. Go ahead. By the way, 2 of my last superstars are Asian. Josh Kim, a half-ass Korean, and Thomas McGuire, a half-ass Chinese. Go ahead.
Who's the youngest person you've ever had
sex with? I will neither confirm... different question. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Who's the youngest...
Sally, you even laughed at that one. It wasn't Sally.
Who's the youngest person you've ever had go through your program successfully?
13. Any other questions? Duncan?